Hi internet friends, welcome back to Paradise Lost in Books. I'm Christy and today I'm doing my very first book talk. Yay! So I've been wanting to do a book talk for a while now, but I didn't know what to do it on because if I'm going to do a book that I've read before, I want to reread it so that I'll have a fresh mind going into it. But, you know, I hadn't really read anything new until I started the Selection series by Kiera. I actually listened to this book instead of reading it. So I really enjoyed that experience. Listening to audiobooks is one of my favorite things. I do that on my way to and from work now instead of listening to music. But anyways, I picked up this series. I heard really good things about it. Spoiler-free synopsis. So you have this girl, America Singer. This is kind of a futuristic world, but it's also a little bit medieval. Everyone is sorted into castes, and your caste determines what job you can get, and basically the life you're gonna live. And then the prince comes of age, and when he does, he holds a selection, which is basically like The Bachelor, in order to find his future wife. So he picks 35 random girls from all over the country to come and live at the palace and compete to win his heart, and America is chosen. So obviously we follow her point of view and see kind of what happens. That's all I'm going to say spoiler-free wise. If you don't want to be spoiled, you should go read this book and then come back and we will talk about it and review it and have a good time, okay? Alright, so let's start with things that I did like about this book. So I liked that it started without an info dump. I hate when books just dump exposition on you and you have to get all the backstory up front. I like that this book kind of drops us right in the middle of the action. We start with America and Aspen, and we kind of see their whole illicit romance, which I really liked at first. I was kind of confused because you go into a series like this and you know how it's going to end. Like, obviously the main character is going to end up with the prince. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously I haven't done all the other books yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but it just seems pretty obvious that that's what's going to happen. So to start her out with Aspen and they have this, you know, forbidden romance going on, I thought that was kind of interesting. And I like that Aspen was a caste below her because I feel like usually with these kind of books, the guy is the one who's in the higher position, which I guess ends up happening with Maxon anyway. But I still thought it was kind of cool that her first love was below her, so to speak. Although that did become frustrating when Aspen decided to turn into a twat all of a sudden, and he was like, I have a male ego, I can't stand it when women provide for me, and just freaked out on her. So that was really annoying, and from that moment on, I hated Aspen, but I'll talk more about him later. Moving on from that, I really liked America's family. I felt like it was a much different family dynamic than we usually see in these type of books. I like that one of her brothers is kind of a jerk and we don't really see him very much. I like that her parents' relationship is kind of strained. Her father says a couple of things that make it feel like, their relationship hasn't had that spark for a while. That's depressing. But I don't know, it just feels like a very real family dynamic. It's not the typical thing that you usually see. And I like that her family is poor, but they're not destitute. Because, again, usually with these types of books, I feel like it's very rags to riches. Like, the main character is so destitute and barely making it. Kind of like Katniss, you know? Which is fine. I love The Hunger Games. But anyways, it was just kind of refreshing to see a different type of poverty, a different type of, you know, other end of the spectrum. So anyways, America gets selected. She didn't think she was going to get selected. Aspen forced her to enter the selection because he's dumb. I don't know. But so she gets picked, which is really cute. I really liked the airport scene. It kind of made me think of like Taylor Swift, just how America was like, oh, let me sign all the autographs and say hi to all the people and, you know, greet my adoring fans. Like, I just thought that was really cute and adorable, and yeah, I liked it. So she gets to the palace, and when I heard this with the audiobook, I just immediately started laughing. They talk about how the royal family lives on the 3rd floor corridor and how nobody can go up there, and I was just like,
our caretaker, Mr. Filch, has asked me to remind you that the 3rd floor corridor on the right-hand side is out of bounds to everyone who does not wish to die a most painful death.
So that was hilarious. So they have their first meeting, and of course it's not the typical thing. You know, she gets all claustrophobic and overdramatic and runs outside, and the guards won't let her go outside, and Maxon comes and she, you know, yells at him and tells him he's stuck up, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was cute, but, you know, it was also kind of weird. It was just, it felt a little bit tropey, but I guess I'll talk about that more when I get to the things I don't like. But they have their first meeting, and, you know, most of this book is kind of fluff stuff. You know, we meet her maids. Her maids are really cute and really sweet. We meet the other girls. The only one that really stood out to me was Marley and Celeste, obviously. Marley is really cute and fun, and it's nice that America has someone who's really going to be a friend to her. Celeste was just kind of your typical mean girl, not really a lot to say there. Although I did like the scene with Anna slapping Celeste. I mean, it was pretty obvious that Celeste provoked her, but still, it was kind of nice to see that happen. And then also the scene where Celeste told America to take her dress off. Like, I get what kind of picture you're trying to paint here, what kind of character you're trying to paint Celeste as, but it just felt really weird. Like, I don't think even Regina George would demand the dress off another girl's back. Like, it felt unbelievable in a way, but it was also kind of funny. So I don't know how I felt about that. It was weird. I also really liked the whole ear-pulling thing that America and Maxon developed when she was like, oh, we're just going to be friends, and I'm going to help you pick, you know, who you're going to be with, or whatever. I thought the ear-pulling thing was really cute and a nice way for them to be able to get in touch. You know, it's weird. Like, they have phones, because she distinctly makes a phone call, and they have airplanes and stuff, but they don't have, like, texting. I don't know why she couldn't just, like, text him. Whatever. I also thought the rebels were really interesting. It was kind of like a superficial plot point in this first book. I hope it'll be more important later, because I'd really hate it if the author added this deeper plot potential, but then it didn't really turn into anything. You know, as kind of cliche as it is to do the whole dystopian thing, it would be nice to see something deeper than just the bachelor to be queen and king. So I also really liked their first kiss. I thought that was really cute, and how he wanted her to be his very first kiss of all time, and then he was all worried he messed it up. And that was kind of the first moment where she realized that, you know, maybe this wouldn't be such a bad thing, you know, to actually date Maxon, because Maxon seems like a pretty good guy. I don't think we get a very full character development of him in this book, but he seems very sweet and very thoughtful. Like, for instance, when she tells him what it's like in her cast and he doesn't really get it, he's like, well, you know, I'm sure that it's hard to be hungry, but stealing is bad. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like, and she tries to explain it from her point of view, like having to see the people you love, you know, in physical pain because you can't feed them, and feeling like it's your responsibility. I just love how she explains that to him, and his immediate reaction to that is to implement this plan to feed the lower castes. Like, the fact that she would ever doubt him after that really pisses me off. He just makes it very obvious that he's willing to listen to her and take her thoughts and concerns seriously. So I guess with that, I'll move into my dislikes about the book, because that's a pretty nice segue right there. She jumps to conclusions so much. She's so ready to assume that, you know, Maxon is going to pick Celeste because she's beautiful. Like, she says that near the end. She's willing to assume that he's shallow and superficial without ever getting to know him. And I just feel like that's really going to mess things up for her later, because she's so quick to make judgments and assumptions and not really think before she acts. And I do see that becoming a problem later. Also, let's get back to Aspen, because I hate this guy. Like, who does he think he is? You broke up with her because your ego was so fragile, and then you want to, like, force her to kiss you in her room? This is treason. First of all, this is treason. This is literally against the law. Second of all, you forfeited all rights to anything to do with her when you broke up with her.
You forfeit all rights to my heart.
You don't get to do that. Fuck you. You're an asshole, and I hate Aspen. I hate him. Like, I just hate men who think that, it's passionate and beautiful to force themselves on women and like think that their declaration of love outstrips everything else. He's like so mopey at the end when she's like, well, I'm in this competition, so I'm really gonna try and focus on doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And he's like, so you picked him over me? Why shouldn't she? You broke up with her. Go away. And I just see this becoming a real issue, and I think that some of my irritation at America is stemming from the fact that I kind of used to be like her. I used to find it really hard to manage the affections of more than one person, and it led to a lot of really stupid decisions on my part. So I see where this is going, because I've been there. Not to this level. I've never had a prince that wanted to be with me, but regardless, I can kind of see where this is going, and I know it's going to cause problems because America is stupid, and Aspen is even stupider than she is, and poor Maxon is probably going to get hurt in some way from all of this love triangle bullcrap. Another thing about America is I'm just really tired of the different girl trope. I mean, I get that the protagonist needs to be atypical in some way in order to stand out, but I'm just so tired of the whole like, this girl is special and I love her because she's different from everyone else kind of thing. Of course America doesn't want to be a princess like the other girls do, and that makes her stand out, and she's okay with not having a luxurious makeover like the other girls do. Just, it's not that I hate America or anything, but it's just kind of tired, and I'm just kind of tired of seeing that whole idea of, the different girl, like as if being a normal girl is not good or whatever. I don't know. I just think it's kind of boring. Another thing is I feel like we've seen casts before. I mean, it definitely helps with the whole Rebels thing. It makes that make sense. But I mean, like Hunger Games, we had districts, Divergent, we had factions, Red Rising, we have colors. The Giver, they choose your job for you, which is a similar kind of idea. Even Percy Jackson, you're placed in the cabin that goes with your god or goddess parent, and you are treated differently based on which god or goddess you go with. I mean, the lesser gods and goddesses definitely are kind of looked down upon by some of the campers. So I feel like the whole dividing people up thing is kind of played out, and I didn't feel like that was really anything new. I don't know, I just found that kind of tired as well. The last thing I really want to point out is I didn't really like the mass exodus at the end. I mean, this book is already kind of short. I mean, it only took me like a week to listen to it. My commute is like 30 minutes. So it really didn't take me that long to listen to. And I just felt like it didn't really make sense, because the reason he does the mass exodus at the end and cuts it down to 6 girls is to make them safer and kind of expedite the process so that the rebels don't have as many people to attack and blah, blah, blah. But like, he gives them the choice to leave whenever the rebels attack. 3 girls left at the last attack where America took her maids into the safe room, which was a really cool moment, by the way. And I just feel like they're kind of giving the rebels what they want. If he sends a ton of girls home, like, are you not telling the rebels that they're getting to you by sending a ton of girls home and cutting the competition down so suddenly? Like, I don't know. It just kind of felt like a cheap, not well thought out trick to cut the books down and get to the elite even faster. Like, I personally would have liked to see a little bit more of the other girls, or more dates and stuff like that. I don't know, maybe that'd be better for novellas, but I wouldn't have minded if the actual selection process took a little bit longer. Overall, I would give this book a 3 out of 5. It wasn't so gripping that I was like, oh, I have to get to the next book and see what happens next. I didn't feel like it was that deep of a plot, but I felt like her writing style was really good. It was very lighthearted, very fun to read. It didn't have too many cliches. It was enjoyable. It just didn't grab me the way that some of my other favorite novels have. I do want to read the rest of the series. I do want to see what happens next. I can't say that I'm like super duper excited about it, but I'm interested. I do want to see if I'm proven wrong on anything, if there's any surprises. I think the author is very talented, and I'm excited to see where this series goes. All right, guys, that's it for my first book talk on the selection by Kiera Cass. Thank you so much if you watch this whole thing. I know I ramble a lot, but I just have a lot of thoughts and feelings. I think most of you probably understand that, right? So anyways, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd give it a thumbs up. If you'd subscribe to my channel, please. Until next time, guys, bye.